What's going on? Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning. We made it. Uh, it's been a long one. But we're here and we're live and we're excited because today we've got a couple dope creators, the writers of Darling from Source Point Press, Michael Fleizach and Todd Hunt. They're going to be joining us in just a minute. Um, Al, what's going on? Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm cool.
You good?
hmm
You alive?
Yeah,
We're both,
well,
we're both alive. Hey, if the energy levels are a little slightly lower today, it's only I'm on like 2 hours of a very light sleep. Um, one of those nights I'm fighting a cold. I've been fighting a cold, so
is
tossing and
that what it
turning.
is?
It was. It's just cold, man. Cold. It's cold season, man. And up in Toronto, this
Mm-hmm.
weather's crazy up here, man. We're getting snow already. So, but yeah, so we got the Darling creators, and after the interview, we are going to be getting into our copper drop this week, which is Radio Apocalypse. I'm sure that's not going to be any surprise to anybody what the result of that's going to be. Yeah, what do you think, Al?
I don't know. You might be surprised.
Oh, well then.
No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
Al making things interesting this morning. So thanks for everybody who's tuning in. Cookie, thank you. What's going on? Um shall we bring out these gentlemen and,
hmm
and 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 have them on? Let's do this. Let's not waste no more time, guys. We're gonna get right into it. Uh Good morning.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Sergio.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
We're doing very well. Thanks for having us.
Really
Hey.
happy to be here. We've been following along the past few weeks and thought it was time to just get our faces on the show.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we know you guys have made the live chats a couple times, I think, and
Yep.
so it's great to finally guys. Excuse me. It's great to finally have you guys on to talk about your fantastic book, Darling, the trade paperback out this Wednesday, scheduled to release this Wednesday, November the 24th. Collecting issues 1 through 4 of Darling. Man, this is a book, man. This is a book. I gotta be honest, it came very much under the radar. But when I tell you, man, this is one of my absolute favorite series this year. No word of a lie, man. Just great stuff. So
Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you, Sergio.
everybody watching, man, pick it up when you hit up those shops. New Comic Book Day Wednesday, make sure you grab a copy if it's there. You guys are gonna love this series. Michael, Todd, you're here. We're live. Can for those not familiar with Darling and your works, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourselves and what Darling is about?
Yeah, Todd, you want
Yeah.
to? You always do this better than I do.
Sure. I'll try to answer both of those really quick. Mike and I have been creating together for a really long time now, and we've created plays together, a few different versions of things. And once we landed on working on comics together, everything fell into place really neatly, which never happens. So we knew something had to be right. We both wanted to work together on a comic, and we both kind of had similar ideas, and they eventually lined up when we were talking about Mike's brother, who passed away of a heroin overdose about 10 years ago, having left him behind some journals. And Mike's brother was incredibly creative and kind of always writing, and the stuff that was in there was just too good not to do something with. And I'm sure Mike can add more to why we, chose to go this route, but it kind of all started to fall into place that we could kind of tell a story using these journals and our shared inspirations. The one that Mike and I share, like Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki, Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and the stuff that Mike and his brother shared as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. I think you pretty much hit on everything. He passed away. There were some journals that he left behind. and as I was kind of working through it and going through all kind of like the stages of grief and reading all his stuff, and some of it incredibly personal, and some of it written to me. He'd written me letters and other things. It was rough, and I kind of wanted to put it to good use. I wanted to almost like in a therapeutic way, kind of put it to that energy into a good place, kind of use all that and just kind of make something beautiful out of it. So instead of missing him and tossing all that stuff away and letting it kind of gather dust, I wanted to kind of put it someplace where I could keep it forever and kind of build a world where I could put all things he wrote, things I wrote. We used to be in a band together, and we used to collaborate all the time on creative projects. So like, I lost my brother, which who I love very, very dearly, but I also lost a collaborator and a creative outlet, and someone who I told jokes with every day. So I just had all this stuff and nowhere to put it. And Todd and I wanted to put it in this comic, and we thought it would be a great idea to kind of work it out that way.
I actually want to jump in quick before I forget.
No,
One of the really cool things. God damn it. All right. Go ahead. One of the great things that we're doing. So Mike and I have decided what the next arc is going to be. It's going to be called 6 Impossible Things. Kind of a take off the quote of the Queen. I've sometimes believed 6 impossible things before breakfast in Alice in Wonderland, but it's called 6 Impossible Things. Will be 6 issues. But the really cool thing, and the reason I bring it up now, is the cover B for every one of those issues. We're going to be using the actual journal pages from Mike's brother's journal, overlaid. My son is going to be doing interpretations of all of the characters in the arc over the journals. So there were really, really cool, unique, like the idea that Mike and I are creating something that we have to give the credits to Grayson Hunt, my son, and his brother, is just mind blowing. But it came out really good. We did the first one as like a test recently to see what it looks like, and it's just great. So you get to see some real journals that inspired some of the story and these really creative drawings that my son's been spending time working on. So something really cool to look forward to next fall when we release the next arc.
Yeah, we all put some trade paperback on the journal page to find their way. But it's kind of getting more and more personal, which is interesting because I mean, as you know, from issue 1 to 4, the world kind of really opens up. It kind of really gets, it gets very crazy very quickly.
Yes.
And it's going to get more and more personal as well. As I kind of work through it, because there's the story of Darling and Francis Darling, and then there's the story of me kind of working through it and getting through all the journals and all the grief. So that there's the story, and then there's the meta story. So Todd and I are having a lot of fun with that, and we thought all the variant covers for the first arc were awesome, and we're probably going to be working with some of those folks again. But we also wanted to have a really personal alternate cover, variant cover that kind of included bits of our families. As that's kind of just what the process is all
and
about.
we've already done like more variant covers than entire series do with our first 4 issues. So it's not like we're missing having artists share our world.
You guys have had some like amazing covers. I love Alex Reigel's variant covers, man. Have been killer.
They're amazing. They're amazing.
We love them.
And just very much, just that trippy psychedelic vibe and feel to it. But I guess first, big kind of a bomb there. So there is gonna be the second arc is confirmed, which is amazing news.
Yep.
We're actually just about done. We got 2 issues done of the 6, and we're cranking on the wrapping up the arc. But yeah, it's a lot of everything's mapped out pretty much. And Todd and I are excited to get it in everyone's hands. It's just going to take a little longer than we thought, but it's coming confirmed for fall next year. So this time about next year.
Yeah, we pulled like a video game developer thing, right? It's like if you can't get it 100% right the first time you get it out there, just delay it. I mean, everyone else is doing it these days, so we're just gonna take the opposite of the CD Projekt Red route and not release Cyberpunk 2077 until it's actually ready.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. We don't want to patch this thing until it's after we release it.
Right. This is DLC. You just have to tape it over the panels.
Right, exactly.
So Al's the big gamer of the two of us, so I'm sure she's. Hey, this is great news. Take your time with it.
Yeah.
You guys absolutely crushed that arc, that first arc, the first 4 issues, along with the rest of the creative team, Dave Mims. Man, very much looking forward to the second arc. That's fantastic news. Congratulations on that. And it sounds like this is very much continuing this family affair with this book. Now including your son's artwork on those variant covers, which is cool. And so you've got the Super Nintendo's socials. It's his art that you're posting on that page, right? Some of it at least.
Most of the time, yeah. Sometimes if we do something together, I'll post something that I did. But a lot of especially like the Five Nights at Freddy's fan art and stuff like that, that's all him. And he's really, I mean, he's my son, so I would probably say this anyway, but he's really very good for 6 years old.
6 years old.
Yeah.
Man.
And he's just so focused. Like we were drawing together yesterday, and it took him 2 hours to finish it to be exactly the way he wanted to see it. And like anyone who knows a 6-year-old, like to get them to do anything for 2 hours is near impossible. And it's just all of his own will. Like he knows what he sees in his head and he won't stop until it's done. And it's just incredible to see. I wish I had that work ethic. But it's really, anything I can do to keep him inspired and on this track to continue with his art. I mean, he knows now he's going to have a comic in stores on shelves with his work on it. And it's just so exciting for him. So yeah, it's been a really cool decision to make.
I was thinking, Todd, is that if we're doing Comic-Con next year, Greg could sign autographs.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be ready for that. Yeah. I mean, we'll probably have to give him a window of about 45 minutes and snacks, but he'll be fine. It's going to be a very short window.
Right.
It's going to be on his rider list there.
Exactly. Yeah. And lots of Funko Five Nights at Freddy figures, which Mike and I are going to have to walk around with him and scour for.
Yeah, but that's amazing. 6-year-old living the nerd's dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a 6-year-old, he may be the first 6-year-old with a cover in stores, a variant cover.
Yeah.
So we're just Sergio, we're just continually breaking new ground here.
Yeah, we're breaking big news, we're breaking big grounds. That's what we're doing.
It's just what we do.
Man, that's no joke. So we'll be keeping our eyes and ears open for any news regarding the follow-up. One thing that got me right away from this. So I picked up, first of all, issue number 1. I love this cover.
It's a great cover.
One of my favorites. So this, I wasn't familiar with Darling. I didn't see it in the solicits. And then just off of the strength of this cover and then the fantastic interior artwork, I said, hey, I got to pick this up. Awesome. And one of the best choices I've made in terms of comic book reading this year. And then you open it up and one of the first things you see is this forward, discussing the death of your brother Michael, the struggle with addiction, and the stigma behind the death of an addict or an abuser, right? And there definitely, most definitely, there is a stigma out there, and it's not always the easiest subject to talk about. But what I really loved is seeing that a portion of all the proceeds from the sales of the Darling books is being donated to drug and alcohol programs, correct? Yep. So I mean, it's a win-win, folks. If you needed any more incentive to pick up a book like this, I mean, there you have it.
The really great thing, Sergio, is that when we talked to SourcePoint about wanting to donate portion of the proceeds to the charity, they not only were on board with us doing that, but they also agreed to match everything. So it's going to be our portion of the proceeds matched every quarter by Source Point Press, because they believe in the story and the message so much. So, once we had that conversation with them, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, this is exactly where we should be. We landed exactly where we should be with the people we should be doing this with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that again. If you guys, folks at home watching, if you guys needed any other reason to pick up this book, I mean, right there, you've got it. Great cause and something. This is a subject matter that you don't see, or at least I haven't seen too often in comic books. So you guys kind of you spoke about, you guys worked on plays previously. I guess why the comic medium to tell this story rather than perhaps a play or any other kind of medium?
I think that personally, and Mike and I have certainly discussed this, kind of in comics, as long as you have the right team, it's yours, and
Right.
it's kind of all yours. And Source Point especially has given us very little direction on how we should craft this world, but we knew that we wanted to do something that really didn't need to be touched by anybody else. And we also wanted to work in an environment where these incredibly fantastic ideas we had, even from the very beginning of working on this project, we could do. And then we knew as long as we found the right artist, we could create the most incredibly fantastic worlds in comics. And that might be difficult to do on stage or on screen. And who knows, one day it might go to stage and screen, but to tell the story the way that we wanted to, we needed kind of an unlimited field to be able to play with. And comics presented that to us. And I was working on The Secret Adventures of Houdini a few years back before we started this, and asked Mike for some help. And we started working on this storyline together. And we were like, oh, this works for us. We're good at this, and we work together well doing it. So that's kind of why it became comics, and the comic medium was where we wanted to go with it.
Yeah. It's the smallest team with the most freedom, I think, that we could get.
Yeah,
I think
right.
we realized the more people we add, if we had to, count, rely on a playhouse and a group of actors, and then auditions, and then, also, COVID is a huge concern now. It wasn't so much back then when we were planning this, but now it's like that kind of worked out in our favor. We would have had to shut down if we were doing anything that was like, in the public space.
Right.
So it's definitely, it's a team of 3 or 4 of us and 5 of us, I guess. And it's really Todd and I just kind of volleying back and forth all day to kind of keep things moving, and that's much easier, I think, than moving a whole community theater group or a whole, that's so. And we both have a fondness of comics, and as Todd said, he had written one before, so he was kind of it was kind of crazy. I convinced him to go back in because I'm not sure he had the greatest experience the first time around.
Okay. Todd, do you want to drop the name of your previous published work, or is that
No, of course, no. I love. I did.
Oh yeah, the book is great. Yeah. The book's great.
No, yeah. We Sean Von Gorman and I did The Secret Adventures of Houdini through Alterna, and the book is great. We love the book. The process was a little tedious for a few different reasons. But we love Sean. He hung out with us at Comic-Con a lot because he has featured art in the 4th issue as well as the trade. And he did probably our favorite variant cover, which is the Wolverine homage. Yep.
Man.
So Sean's still a very good friend of our comic and us personally, and we will certainly be using Sean for other art and maybe even more along the road to the end of the series.
That's a great cover. My personal favorite, the Frank Miller Wolverine homage.
Yeah,
is a classic, and he crushed it. Man, I mean, just even kind of come up with the idea of this, and it fits,
Yeah,
it works.
And literally, I said to Sean, like, do you think you'd be interested in doing a variant? And he's like, yeah, give me a few minutes. And he sent me like 3 mock-ups, all great. This was the best of all of them. But
amazing.
like, he's just like, he gets comics more than probably anybody I've ever met. Like he's incredibly talented, and he's just a good friend, and we're certainly looking forward to doing more work with him over the next few years.
That's awesome. And with with the story like Darling, I guess the comic medium, there's no limitations to what you can kind of put down.
Right. That's why we love it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And this, so Darling is a story about our main character, Francis Darling. It opens up. So he's a heroin addict, and I guess it opens up with him trying to I guess living his life, the habits of an addict, the shenanigans that they're up to, and he's trying to score some dope by the end of the first issue. It's set in a time period, early 80s, 1980 New York. Yep. And from that opening page, I don't know if we've got that screener there, El, if we've got it. You got the subway, the grimy, NYC subway, the whole vibe. It opens up very much on point. So got to give kudos to the art team there. Yes, I love it, man. I love it. It's something. It's got that graffiti style.
Yep.
To it, fitting for the time period. The colors are vibrant without kind of being almost like overly.
Mike, remember at one point we had 2 pages of this, and it went from a very empty platform to a very, very busy platform, and we had thought bubbles of every single person on the platform to kind of get like that crazy feeling of like everything happening at once in this one area. And we wound up just kind of letting the art do the talking rather than adding words when it wasn't needed, which is, just as important as putting words in. It's just important to taking words out. But it was cool. It was a cool idea. I remember. I haven't thought about that for so long.
Yeah, we had everybody saying something pretty much.
Yeah, some people were singing songs.
You and I wrote something for everyone. Every
single person. Yeah.
That'd be interesting to see.
It was a mess. It was an
absolute mess. Yeah. This is the version here is much better, but it's
we found out fun. We found out early that like we thought we would have to kind of tag writing with almost every panel in order to tell the story, until we realized that Dave Mims was just so effing good that we barely had to add anything, especially to his art that was telling the story. I say this all the time, that if you took out all of the words of all 4 issues, you could probably get about 75% of the story just from Dave's art.
Yeah.
So once we really grew confident in Dave's telling of stories with pictures, we realized we don't have to annotate every single action that's happening on there. He's already doing it. That's what the art is. Yeah. So this was a cool lesson for us.
And to that point, my favorite character in the book, Mr. Finch, who guys, he does not have a single word, a single line of dialogue throughout the whole book, but he manages to steal the show.
Yep.
He manages to absolutely steal the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's got his aviator helmet and glasses.
And Sergio, real quick, we went through so many different variations of what Finch should look like for the exact idea that we had of him. And in the trade, we included a whole bunch of concept art. And there's like 4 different versions of the director and Mr. Finch. One of them, I think the directors, they're both dressed like ushers in a movie theater because of that, like the idea of him being a director and being obsessed with film.
Yeah.
But it's really cool in the trade to see all the different variations of how we got to Finch. But yeah, people love Finch. And if anyone, when we mentioned we were going to have one of our main characters be mute, a lot of people kind of said, I don't know if that's going to work in comics, but that was exactly what we needed to hear to try to make it work.
And it absolutely works, I think in large part to the strength of the art, just Mr. Finch's mannerisms and his actions. And again, it's tough for me as a reader. It's very much a delight and a surprise. Again, he's a mute, doesn't say a single word, but somehow my favorite character.
Yeah.
Steals
Thank you.
the spotlight, along with the director, who's this kind of, he's got a flair for the dramatic, a little on the flamboyant side. Just great. So Darling features a cast of these great characters, and that's one of the things I love so much about this book, whether it's the director and Mr. Finch or Francis Darling, who's somewhat of a I guess you could say like an anti-hero, who maybe I find myself reading it, and the things that he does, particularly in issue number 1, you probably should be saying to I really don't like this guy, this character, but I found myself, he's got a charm, which the whole book it's got this charm to it.
Yeah.
So in particular with Francis Darling, what I like, it humanizes the, the addict, right? This
Right.
person versus, a lot of times, drug addicts, they're portrayed in a very kind of narrow kind of point of view, the villain and no good shitty people, but not with the story.
It's an interesting thing, and Mike's talked
Mhm.
really often about how charismatic his brother was, and if you
Charismatic,
look at an addict, they kind of have to be. If they weren't charismatic, they wouldn't be able to get away with the shit that they pull and the things that they do. That charisma is unfortunately sometimes a part of how they can get away with doing so much bad, even to themselves. So it was really important that Francis's kind of superpower, as we say, is just being able to get people to like him.
Yeah, for sure. And that's very that was very true of my brother, and felt very organic to the story. That was something that we almost missed if we hadn't thrown out the first beginning that we were starting to do,
which is included in the trade.
Yeah, we threw it. We had a whole intro that we scrapped, and we included some of that in the trade for people to see. I think we call it Old Beginnings, and people can check out how we almost started the book. We I don't know. Todd has a very good bullshit detector, and he just felt like we were a little bit up our own asses on it, so we scrapped it after Dave drew, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 beautiful pages of an opening, and we were like, it doesn't feel right. We didn't really start with Francis. The city was more of the main character. It was kind of like we tried to create like a 1980s vibe, and then we were like, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel. So we took a hard pivot and a really like aggressive editing pass, and we were like, all right. And Todd was like, it needs to be more about character. We need to understand Francis right away. We took a lot of inspiration from like 1990s Disney movies like Aladdin, and just how Disney kind of starts their stuff when they're really putting you on this character journey. And specifically Aladdin we liked because Aladdin's like he's like a thief, so he's not immediately likable, similar to Francis. He's not supposed to be, he's kind of like causing trouble in the markets and jumping all over people's stuff and stealing things, and we were like, but you love him anyway. And we were like, yeah, that's kind of the vibe, like for Francis, is that like he's stealing things from his ex-girlfriend and he's causing trouble, but like the cops kind of know him and they love him, and like his ex-girlfriend still shows up to like
and even when he's stealing the stuff, he's talking about how he's going to make it right as he's stealing it.
Right. He's gonna replace with better stuff, and
right.
And I believe he means that. He really does.
Yeah. Which is great. And I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes, pages from the book was when Trix is she's recollecting that memory of her and Francis looking for her missing, I think it was pearl earrings or something.
Oh, the shadow puppets.
And just really heartbreaking scene. It just, again, guys, I can't recommend this enough to everybody. I mean, it's just something like that, just powerful and emotional scene. I wish we had screeners up, but yeah, it's great stuff, and it comes off as very real.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, all that stuff is from a very real place. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not really that's I think Todd and I specifically wanted to have Trix carry a lot of the she carries a lot of my emotion, actually, a lot of stuff I watched, and a lot of the hard feelings I went through with my brother.
Yeah.
And also he was an addict for probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. He was an addict for a long time before I lost him. And he always had girlfriends. He always had love interests in his life. He always had a girl in his life. And I just watching all that, watching him go through that, watch the relationships come together and then fall apart. And I don't know, all of that stuff is very real. He even has amongst his things like a bunch of letters and things that he's kept that different girlfriends have written, things like that. So I try that all that stuff is very real to life. If that feels like it's that carries like kind of like a legitimacy or a certain weight to it, that's because that's no bullshit right there. That's totally I mean, Todd and I kind of packaged it a certain way and obviously wrote the scene a certain way, but all that emotion is very real.
Oh man, and it comes across that very much. So just powerful, heartbreaking to read. What I think, like again, what probably my favorite scene, despite how difficult it was to read something like that. Just great stuff. So just kudos
Thank you.
all around. I had a couple questions for you guys. Hebron. Is that
Yeah.
a New York thing, or that kind of went over? I didn't fully understand that. I had to read it a couple times, and
yeah.
So it's go ahead.
I don't even know that we have an explanation for it, and I love
we
that you're
do.
asking that question.
We
Really?
do. We do.
Really?
Yeah. So
Well, this is the first time anyone has asked us about Hebron
yeah,
ever.
it's true.
I think we just thought it was hilarious.
I was talking to you about my friend Nick, whose brother designed our logo.
Yeah.
And I had wrote in the text, I meant to say, he's close. He's from the Bronx. And for some reason, it came through as he's Bronx.
Oh.
And we thought it was really funny, but we also kind of liked the idea of like Hodor from Game of Thrones. Like he just he only says one thing. Either he has some sort of a mental thing or like a speech thing, or there's a misconnection between his brain and his speech. And he just says the same thing over and over, but maybe he says it in a variation of ways where that he's like saying hi.
Right.
So he just became
you remember that
a Hodor character that came.
I got you.
I remember actually reading once that Lady Gaga's name came from Lady Gaga because she meant to write Radio Gaga by Queen, and it came out as Lady Gaga by autocorrect. And she was like, "Oh, that's my name now."
Okay.
And it was kind of something very similar to that, but I liked the idea of just a character who, he just can only say one thing, and maybe that's one of the reasons.
Now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. I remember, and
that's amazing you bring that up. Yeah,
no one has ever asked us about it, and I remember that's so funny.
I had to myself and Al. We were like Google. We went down a deep and rabbit hole last night. I know she kept. We gotta figure this out. What does it mean? We got.
No, I was thinking that it was like one of his the guy's speech pattern.
Yeah.
So that's what they called him because that's what he says. That's kind of what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, and we wanted that scene when he goes into that dilapidated building to score, even though he's promised that he wouldn't. That whole scene and all of those people that are surrounding him are really present but not present.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have someone talking about right. We call that the Goodfellas scene because we kind of ape that scene in Goodfellas where the camera's over Henry Hill's shoulder and he goes into the Copa and he goes through the kitchen and they set up the table for him and all that stuff. That big long tracking shot.
Yeah, the long shot.
It's the same thing. So you have cameras, you just see Francis's shoulder moving through this scene the entire time, and all of these things that we wanted to throw in. So we also threw in grumble grumble, which is what that enemy says in the Legend of Zelda on NES, that you have to give the meat to get past him. So just all of these weird little inspirations we've had from our history and nostalgia, we threw into this scene to just make it feel so weird, but also maybe authentic because of how weird it is.
Yeah, we love a good throwaway joke.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like I remember the text message now, and you sent it, and I was like, well, now we have to have a character named Heat. Like, I feel like I immediately was like, well, now that's what we'll call. Like, we were going to use it immediately because we thought it was so funny that it's just that's how the text came through.
Right.
But again, that comes from a genuine place because we just thought that was hilarious between the two of us.
That
so it was
that was
like a little
back
monument to that moment.
Right. That was back when the director was named Hugo, and it was an old dentist office that you had to go through the back door to get into like his den.
Yeah, I forget. Todd and I, the early version of this book doesn't look really anything like where we landed. Once we reboot it and got everything on track, we felt like we had a very good sense of what was right and what was wrong for the book.
And so much stronger now, right? Like, we're working on this new stuff, and things that would have taken us forever to get to, like, it's coming so naturally. And like, the issues have their own 3 arc pattern. Like, each of the new issues are going to have a very strong beginning, middle, and end that will all kind of, so the first 4 really kind of go up to the second issue and then come down. Each issue now is going to have that kind of that same pattern of that 3 arc structure. So it's going to be really dense, the new issues, and we're going to be telling a lot more story in a shorter amount of time, but only because it took us, this long to figure out exactly how to do that with this story.
Yeah. And we wrote the first 100 pages together, and we were thinking it would be 4 big books of like 100 to 125 page issues, like mega books. And Source Point just asked us to break them up. So that's kind of why, if there's any sense of, that 4 seem to sit together as like one long burn, it's because that's how it was meant to be.
Right.
But it works, and one of the great things is with each subsequent, like reading Darling is very much going down this through the like an Alice in Wonderland type just trip, and with each read you're picking up on different things, or I have at least. I've read the series through 3 times now, and every time I'm picking up on something new. Like this latest
we try
read,
to tuck things away. We try to tuck things away.
You've got the tease in issue number 2 on Queen Ruby's origin story, which I don't know how I didn't catch the first couple of times, but that was great. You got the comic book, and then even the gentleman at the beginning of issue 1 with the record player.
Oh, the narrator. Yep.
The narrator. He's very much warning us. I think what was his line?
This story is a lie.
The story's a lie. You've been warned, right? And like the first, especially the first time, like reading this, like, what the fuck is going on here? It's crazy, but in the best way possible. Yeah,
we hope.
Yeah, this drug-induced, adventure down the rabbit hole, and then, but the narrator, he's the story's a lie. You've been warned. So it kind of, we know kind of what's happening, what or at least I think what's reality and what isn't. So a book that deserves multiple readings, and even I played, and I got to give full credit to Al here. The song, the Tom Jones song.
Oh yeah.
Opportunity to Cry.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Wow,
that was fantastic.
You're pulling some stuff that no one
told
or asked about ever. That's pretty.
That was all Al. She picked up on that. She said, Al, do you wanna
Oh yeah, I just thought it made it lent like a bittersweetness, because this is like the second time I've read it. So like I didn't pick it up on the first time, and then I listened to it the second time, and it just kind of made it all more bittersweet. Like my little brother is in recovery for like the last 2 years, but like just like reading it resonated so much with me, because I promise he said the same things as Francis, his mannerisms, his charisma, all of that stuff. And so like the song kind of made it bittersweet, like the journey, because it's like, because
and that's great news that he's in recovery now, and thanks for sharing. That's certainly one of the reasons why we wanted to write the book, is that people were a little bit more open and willing to discuss their personal struggles or their family struggles with addiction. So that's great news. I always write to music into a soundtrack, and in the beginning, we were gonna actually have like song lists. We were gonna have like every scene like in some kind of special text box in the upper right hand corner or something. We were gonna have a song title, and I remember at one point, like, Todd, didn't we have like an Echo and the Bunnymen like song? We had some like and we in the beginning when we first did the first version of it before we trashed a bunch of stuff. We started to soundtrack it, and Dave Mims was doing it with like musical notes to let people know that there was music to reference if people wanted to reference. But now we just kind of sneak it in other ways. Certainly Opportunity to Cry, like when I was listening to that and working on that opening and writing that opening, and kind of the sun going down and like the story of the attic beginning, it felt like it gelled really well and it worked just right.
Perfectly. Yeah.
And then there's you know, like kind of when they're you know, walking downstairs with the potted plant, and there's singing Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. That's certainly something that, you know, I was listening to. So yeah, it's cool that you're picking up on that stuff.
And Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the line, "You can't plant me in your penthouse," is why we had Ness steal the plant.
Right, because we like a good throwaway joke.
But then it was also really funny that like all this stuff he's stealing, he'd steal a plant. And then his reasoning is that it looked lonely.
Right, exactly.
We got
Dave's
Dave in the
here.
house.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
Dave, I hope you got to hear all the parts where we were absolutely praising you, and Sergio was as well, because you deserve to hear all that. This story would not be this story without Dave Mims. He is probably more than 50% of why this book is as great and as amazing as it is, and why you love it so much, Sergio. It's all Dave.
Yeah, and there's some real killer stuff that he does in the next arc that we love, and I say this all the time, we love to challenge Dave. I love to write something that I'm like, I have no idea how he's going to make this work. And then he sends something back and it's like awesome. And it's like even better than I thought it could be. But I love painting Dave into a corner and then seeing how he gets out.
And he always does. And it's always amazing.
Always does. I'm like, I don't know if he'll be able to do this, but I had this stupid idea. That's kind of how the Shadow Puppets thing started. And that's a very beloved scene with a lot of people we've spoken with. And Dave absolutely crushed it. And I just remember like talking with Todd and being like, what do you think of Shadow Puppets? And he was like, I don't know. You think Dave can do Shadow Puppets? I was like, I bet you probably could.
Yeah, fine. I mean, if our advice to anyone that's making a comic is find someone that allows you to do anything that you can imagine. Because if you can't find someone who can do that for you, then it's just not worth working with them. Because if there was ever a point where we threw something to Dave, like the Shadow Puppets, and he was like, well, I don't know if I can do that, then we'd be so bummed. And it just wouldn't be the story we wanted to tell. And Dave has never said no to us. So he's always, I mean, every single time we send a script, and we send pretty detailed scripts, we write them almost like movie scripts. Dave always makes them better 100% of the time. And we'll see it and be like, we call it Christmas morning, and Christmas morning is every time Dave sends a packet of pages to us.
That's gotta be a feeling to see those fantastic pages being brought to life. And it really is, it's a perfect synergy between the writing and the art, which makes Darling this fantastic book again. One of the best ones this year, man.
Thank you, Sergio.
You guys crushed it. Dave, thank you for coming through. Pick it up November 24th, guys. Next week. Before you guys, a little bit of a surprise here. I did have a bit of a game planned for us.
Mike's excited.
Hopefully you guys are down.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, let me. Al, anytime you're ready, if we can get the ball rolling on this one here. So the name of the game is "What Kind of Nerd Are You?" And we got the alpha nerd over there.
The alpha nerd.
Yeah, the
king of the nerds.
Nerd. So this game. Gonna go a deep dive into the mind of Michael and Todd here and see where we're at in the world of nerddom.
Okay.
Let's get to that first slide there, Al, if you would please. Which TMNT duo would you gentlemen be? And who's who? Who is who? So TMNT, you gotta love some TMNT action. One of my all-time favorite franchises. We got Tokan Razor. We got Bebop and Rocksteady.
Possibly.
Krang and his robot.
Yeah.
Or Casey Jones and April O'Neil.
Todd, I think we got to be. It's C or D, right? And
it's C or D for sure.
Right,
for sure.
There's reasons for either one, and I think I make the much better Casey Jones, and you make the much better April O'Neil. Just because I'm always trying to hide, and Todd is much better to look at. I think, or I'm the fat slob that carries your brain around.
I think at different times, Casey and April or Krang and his body are very appropriate.
Yeah,
I think we have to go with a CD combo.
It might be a CD combo.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
A C and a D combo. Okay. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. Okay. Hey, that's fair. C and D combo. So no love for Toka and Razor or Bebop and Rocksteady.
I don't love Toka and Razor because I don't feel like they're authentic comic to screen characters. Whereas Bebop and Rocksteady are, and obviously Krang and Casey and April. Okay. I don't know. I'm looking at Casey and April, Mike, and think that's probably where we are. Great question, though.
Hey, that's fair.
TMNT is very, very dear to our hearts.
Yeah, love some TMNT. While we're on the TMNT, I'm
Leonardo.
Okay, see, there you go. He read. We're on the same.
I have a skateboard with Leonardo on it, and it's one of my favorite things of all time. Leo is my absolute favorite of all time.
Okay,
that's really good.
Michael, if you had to be one TMNT character or turtle,
Raph.
Yeah.
Raph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially after this last Ronin run, Raph has just become such an important character in the series.
Yeah. I got that somewhere.
Yes, you do.
Right? Don't I have that? I have that somewhere.
You have one of the really incredible variants. One of the best variants they made. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great book. Great book. Have you guys been digging Last Ronin?
Love it.
It's been issue 1. Which came out late last year.
Yep.
It was one of my favorite single issues of all of 2020.
100%. The other issues are great, but that first one is an incredible single issue.
Man, thank you. Because I feel like
so much happens in it. It feels like it's like it's like an anthology. It's like one of the longest runs. They do this really long tracking shot when he gets in there too. That's just incredibly well done.
He's making his way up the tower.
Yep.
Man. That was amazing. Fantastic action sequence.
Yeah, I'm stealing some stuff from that.
Man.
Unabashedly.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
For some reason, I thought it was a one shot. So I read the first issue, and it's not usually my thing.
Right.
But I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then I have never read any other ones because I thought it was a.
It could be honestly.
Yeah,
it could be a one shot.
It stood alone on it.
It totally stood alone, and I think that's the reason I love it. I think that's what I was trying to say with our new issues that are going to be coming out next fall, 6 Impossible Things. I do want them all to feel like one shots. We want them all to feel like one shots. They should be like almost self-contained stories now. Because especially after reading that first issue of Last Ronin, I just felt how important it is to have a singular book that feels like it completely stands on its own, and that certainly does.
We also still need to do that. I'm still hell bent on doing Queens.
Oh, we are going to, yeah, the Battle for Queens.
I really want to do Queens, which tells the backstory of Queens Ruby's fight with Brooklyn Ruby, and we just call it Queens.
Okay.
Yeah, we may actually be seeing Brooklyn Ruby soon, won't we?
I don't know. I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay, fair enough.
Just quickly, while we're on I guess on the subject of Queen Ruby, why did you guys choose the the real life Alabama church bombing as a backdrop for her origin story?
Well, we wanted something authentic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we didn't, we don't go into these things lightly. Obviously, it's a very heavy thing, and that was obviously maybe it's not that obvious. We started working on this. What now? We're like 7 years ago, Todd. What are we at?
Probably, yeah, 6 or
When we
7.
came up with this,
like
I think the environment, the political environment, without getting into a bunch of stuff, was just way less
volatile.
Yeah, and racially charged. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that's something now that's being perceived in a different light. If someone were to read this, that's certainly not. It wasn't our aim. I think part of my journey in forgiving. So part of my journey in forgiving my brother, I've also and I talked about this with Todd, and this starts to play out as Queen's Ruby kind of opens up more as a character, not only in 1 through 4, 2 through 4, but also in the future arc, 6 Impossible Things. I had to kind of forgive, to let a lot of the hate go, or a lot of the sadness and hate I felt around losing my brother and around addiction and all this kind of stuff. I had to go through mental exercises of forgiving whoever the dealer was as well, and forgiving and kind of understanding that, like, you know, like, okay, so all like, you know, like, I want people to say, okay, all addicts aren't bad, you know, and then people be like, all right, Mike, that's fair. And it's like, well, if I do that, I got to say all dealers aren't bad, you know, and you have to kind of understand, you have to follow that around, because you just need more love and forgiveness and understanding all around. I mean, sure, you have bad addicts, sure, you have bad dealers, but what I want people to do is suspend their belief, at least for the moment, and be open to the idea that they could like this person. So I wanted to start her origin story. I just wanted it to be the most evil, vile shit you could imagine. You know?
Yeah, like what's more evil than attacking somebody while they're worshiping?
Yeah.
Crazy.
You know, like it felt like we also very much wanted there to be something we could play with like kind of the idea of evil, like personified in the devil, and those last lines for her backstory could only fit. I feel like we almost had those lines before we even got to where we were going.
Yeah.
Like we knew we wanted to literally blow the good out of her.
Yeah.
Like somehow. Like we actually have in
Literally,
the trade, there's concept art where young Bernadette is connected to old Bernadette. And like when she rings the bell, the young Bernadette comes out of her. And is the one that's doing, we really wanted to, it all landed where it needed to, but we went on so many different variations of it. But we thought of the bell before the backstory. And that's how the bell kind of fit in. It was like, well, where would this bell be? And then it all kind of made perfect sense. And when you're talking about something like so, you know, fragile as an attack like that, we needed to do something that had actually happened. So we weren't kind of creating this, you know, that didn't come from us. That's something that happened, and we just, you know, worked with it already being there. I think it would be a totally different feeling if we just made something up.
Yeah.
And the years lined up, like, you know, it's one of those things where we did our research and we put the work in and found a way to connect all the dots in an authentic way.
Well, with Delilah's backstory too, when you were speaking on the like evil personified, you know, like that was like one of my favorite. And then like the etches in the handle, that's like one of my favorite things in the book.
That was probably one of the funnest experiences we had, of just like, we had like 15 different crazy stories that Delilah could be part of. And I mean, I think we landed on the best ones, but like that was a great 2 weeks where we were just like, hey Mike, and like shoot him a text that was like this long and be like, what about this one? It was like, that's great, just add it to the list and we'll see which one lands. But like thinking of the craziest thing. And I think you
had one where like a bullet goes into a tree and then years later the tree falls and kills somebody under it.
Delilah got shot. The bullet goes into the tree because she knew that they were eventually going to chop the tree down. And when the guy hit the tree with an axe, it shot the bullet into him.
Jesus.
Right.
I think they stole that from you, because I think they did that on an episode of like 911.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
like yeah.
Fine.
They stole it. That would have been really cool.
They
But
they must be going through our text messages and monitoring.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we had some really ridiculous, like it got to the point where Todd and I just realized that we were just trying to be like silly and getting to the most extreme we could get.
Right.
But it made me so excited for like, is like what is Francis's his karma? You know what I mean? Like
Right,
what is
exactly.
it at and where is it
Right.
heading? So
Delilah is a very, very important part of the next arc. It is certainly, like, as you probably can already tell, Mike and I really overthink everything, every decision that we make. So Delilah did not get her own issue just to be thrown away. Like Delilah will be a very important part of the next few issues coming up.
Yeah.
It's great to hear. Looking forward to that, man. That I gotta say, I gotta agree with one of my favorite issues, just the backstory and her journey. And again, one of the great things about this book is all these characters. Whether it's the backdrop of New York City, which very much feels like a character in the book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or a Colt 45 is a character in the book. A Bell even. It's crazy, man. You guys, I don't know. I know I'm just repeating myself, but just great book, man. Everybody needs to check this out.
Thank you.
So I interrupted the game. Apologies.
Sorry.
No.
It was probably us.
Let's keep it rolling. So final answer: Casey Jones and April O'Neil, with Todd being April O'Neil. Is that correct?
I think so. Because Todd, you're the only one of us who's been on camera.
Hey.
Fair.
You got acting chops. So I think that's.
I don't know. I really want to be Krang though. All right, I'll take April.
We'll take it.
Nowhere in the history of this has anyone ever had to choose between April or Krang.
That's true.
But what? Yeah, I'm fine with it.
It's the first. Let's go with it. Al, what do we have next? What's going on? What is the next slide here? What are we looking at? Batman, Superman. So, do you have Batman or Superman underwear in your drawer? Option A, the bat signal shines every night at my place. Or B, I'm faster than a speeding bullet, but more powerful than a locomotive.
I have very tight Under Armour, like heat tech garments that have Superman logos on them, but that's as close as underwear that I have. So I'm gonna have to go with B.
B.
Yeah, I
dig it.
I don't have either. You know what's funny is that I have a pair of like Apollo Creed, like Rocky IV American flag boxer briefs, and I'm more of a Stallone nerd than I am than a Superman nerd. I mean,
you famously said that Stallone should have played Superman over Christopher Reeve.
Wow.
No.
Wow. And
Todd's
what
continuing his fake quoting me all over the place until they come back to me and I have to explain them away.
Yeah, no, famously, you said it on one of the episodes of Super Nintendo. I'll pull it up.
Sure. So I'm neither one of. Yeah, as much as I love both of these heroes, I do not own any of their underwear. Anything with their underwear.
Christmas is coming, Mike.
Yeah, that's true.
Christmas is just around the corner. Absolutely. Okay. Moving on. What else do we got here, Al? Okay. So if you had to pick one squad to defend yourself against these two degenerates, who would you pick?
I'm picking the squad.
These are Stranger Things.
I'm picking Jason and Freddy. I want to see them tear all of those kids. Can I go with the villains? I think Mike and I are both certainly agreed on A.
Yeah, as much as I like Stranger Things, it's it's just kind of it's pulling from Goonies and all of those classics that Todd and I grew up with. So I love to see that all coming back around. And and also just a quick throw out thumbs up to, I saw the new Ghostbusters and it was excellent. And again, that's got the Stranger Things kid in it.
Is he in it? Yep.
Yeah, Finn, whatever's who plays Mike in it in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think that's the perfect balance also of the hits of yesterday and today. That's kind of like how I explain Stranger Things. It's it's got some good new stuff, but a lot of heavy stuff with both. But the source material is Goonies, so it's plus you got Sloth, and I'm not afraid of that mug. So
I love him. And he's rocking the Superman tee. I gotta say, with this particular one, there's only one right answer, and it's the Goonies. I think you gotta go with the OG squad there. Al, out of curiosity, who you going with?
Oh, I like your first answer, Jason and Freddie.
Yeah, they're I love them. And Freddie over Jason all the way.
Elf choosing violence this morning.
Yeah.
Man, okay, I'm with it. Okay, moving on. What else do we got here? So this one's a little bit more straightforward. If you could, where are you taking the DeLorean to, and why? Are we going 50 years into the future or 50 years into the past?
I mean, it's got to be 50 years into the past, because all I think of is the guy who's like, wish I would have known. I would go back and put some money on the Cubbies.
Right.
That's like me. Like I want to go back and I would make.
See, I'd be totally screwed though. I'd be 50 years in the past, and they'd be like, "Who's going to win the World Series?" And they'd be like, "I don't know. I don't even know who won the World Series last year."
Right.
Oh,
you
wow.
can still invest.
Oh, that's true. I'd invest in the fruit company like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
I think that it's got to be the past. I don't want to know what's up in the future.
I'm going totally opposite. I'm afraid I'm not going to see all this cool stuff. Like the only thing that worries me about dying is missing out on the next iPhone. Like I want to see what's going to happen in the future so badly. I'm going to go 50 years in the future in a heartbeat. Find out the new medications they have out there so I can live forever and bring it back. Bring it back
Right.
to the present. You have to remember, Mike, I'm fighting against the idea of death every day of my life. So I need to go into the future so that I can find a way to get to the future. We need to get to the future.
Back to the Future?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to the past.
And listen, can we just take a quick moment to appreciate what a fantastic title Back to the Future is?
I love it.
It's such a great title.
Straight to the point. Though I got to be honest, probably it took me as a kid. I didn't
Exactly. Yep, and I think that's what makes it so special.
And yeah,
there was probably adults too when it first came out. They were like, "What? What is? What? Huh?"
Yeah.
It's great title.
I love it, man. One of my all-time favorites. Actually, Back to the Future, the first one, it's easily the film I've watched the most.
Sure.
And like it's not even close. Just one of those.
Famously, Mike likes Back to the Future 3 the most. We actually did.
I'm clipping that sound.
We actually, the Super Nintendad's Entertainment Podcast actually did an episode on Back to the Future 2 with my son and Mike's son as our season 2 opener, and it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things we've ever done.
Yeah. What were the assignments for that one?
I don't remember, but they were great.
He wrote a script because didn't I do Doc? No.
Yes, he did. He wrote a script. That's right. He wrote a script about being in the present because everyone was wearing COVID masks and they wouldn't let Marty into the store because he didn't have a COVID mask.
Oh, right. So we acted it out. Oh, and I scored it. I remember it.
You scored it.
People should go back and check that one out.
Yeah, people should check that out. Super Nintendad's Entertainment Podcast Season 2 premiere, Back to the Future 2.
And do Todd a favor.
We talk about sequels.
Do Todd a favor. Yeah, it's all about sequels. Do Todd a favor and listen to the Alf and Mr. Belvedere episode.
Please.
Nothing would make you happier.
Listen, Sergio and Elle, this is the best thing we've ever done. We really, literally wrote an episode of Mr. Belvedere meeting Alf, and it totally fits in any Belvedere episode or any Alf episode. Mike plays the most fantastic Alf you have ever heard. You literally will think it's the actor who played Alf, and his son does a really great job as Wesley. I do an okay job as Lynn Belvedere, one of my favorite characters of all time. But it feels, Mike scored it so well with actual commercials at the time. We used the Mr. Belvedere, the theme music and like cutscene music, and it is fantastic. And the laugh track. Just get to the end of the Mr. Belvedere and Alf episode of Super Nintendad's Entertainment Podcast and just listen to this skit that we do at the end where we do a full episode. It's the best thing I think we're ever going to write. What Joey's asking. So it's the Super Nintendad's Entertainment Podcast, and it says When Alf Meets Belvedere is the name of it.
And
at the end of the episode is where we have the whole episode.
Quick shout out to because Joey's been saying nice stuff in the comments the whole time. So thank you for that. We're reading them. We're just trying to keep up with. I'm not a good multitasker.
Right.
Joey's great. He's one of our regular here.
Yeah, he said some really great stuff. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
Yeah. We know he loves the book just as much as we do.
Great. Thank you, Joey.
But for sure, I know what I'm listening to tonight. That'll be
you have homework.
Yeah.
Before you say that,
check
you
that
have
out.
to realize that Todd knows every day of the week. Todd knows exactly how many listens the Alpha Mr. Belvedere episode has. He's got his phone set up for like alerts every time there's a new one.
I check every morning when I wake up. Some people check their work email, they check Instagram. I check the Alf status on Anchor.
From a podcast we posted like a year and a half ago. But it's pretty solid. I mean, we worked hard.
It's really great. We did work really hard on that.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed just scrolling, I saw Waluigi twice, and I said, "Oh, I might have to." That's my guy.
Yeah,
on
Waluigi.
the Instagram feed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and actually, we did a Super Mario World episode where Gabe creates, what was his name?
Oh,
I can't.
I can't believe Lario.
Lario. Right, Lario.
Lario.
The third brother, and my son Gray drew him after listening to Gabe's description. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff that happens in Super Nintendo, that's Entertainment Podcast. That's where we really just get out all of the stress that making comics creates.
Yeah, and our most throwaway jokes.
Yeah,
we're gonna add a link in the description of this video for everybody to check that out for sure. Super Nintendads, and then you got the Super Nintendads on the socials as well, yeah?
Yeah, it's Super Nintendads at Instagram.com or Instagram.com. I am 50 years
at
old.
Instagram.com. All right.
Just sign into your Netscape navigator. Wait for the modem to sign in.
Oh man.
And go to http:// MySpace.com.
On the dial-up. Definitely going to be checking that out.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have any other what's going on here? I think we got a couple more. Maybe.
Ooh, now we're talking.
There you go. If you could only play one video game franchise for the rest of your life, which would it be? Are you going A, Super Mario Brothers, but no sex ever again, but you're rich? B, Donkey Kong, lots of sex, no beer, no friends. Or C, The Legend of Zelda, endless supply of your favorite food, but you're confined to your home at all times.
C is already my life.
C is already, yeah. I mean, if you just change endless supply of your favorite food to Dunkaroos, then like that's pretty much the world I'm living in. Plus, like A is so silly because why else would you want to be rich? That's the only reason that people want to be rich is to have lots of sex. And B sounds like there's going to be lots of kids involved. I'm just looking at playing Donkey Kong with a gaggle of kids around the house, which won't be fun.
And they don't even like you because no friends.
Exactly, yeah. So I think C is the obvious answer here. Plus, if you said The Legend of Zelda, but you have ketchup come out of your nipples and you fart confetti, I'd probably still just say C.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right.
We got Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, and check out what I have actually.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
Look at
and
that.
Zelda.
Look at that.
Oh, the gold edition. I love that, man.
Look at that. The new Game & Watch just came out. It's a beautiful piece of history right there.
That's dope. Guys, this is you're here. The House of Nerds show, probably our nerdiest episode.
Oh, nice. The Famicom.
Yeah. Okay. Al, do you have anything going? What nerdy can you throw up to the camera there, Al?
Oh, I'm throwing everything up.
You're throwing everything up?
Yeah.
I gotta love these. Have you guys seen these Nintendo cartridge coasters?
No, I was wondering what that little thing was. It almost looks like the size of a Famicom disc. Yeah, that's really great. I'm gonna have to check those out.
Yeah, awesome. That's it. So I think we've gotten into your psyche a little bit there. I appreciate you playing.
Sure.
Satisfying, man.
It's a great quiz. Mike and I love a good quiz. We've tried to create like 6 different ones on our show, and one's actually stood the test of time. But that's a great quiz. I love a good quiz.
I threw it together. It was like 5 a.m. in the morning. I said, I gotta have some fun with these. You guys are uber nerds like us over here. So, thanks for playing along and being good sports about it, man.
Yeah, of course.
I think Al, was there anything else that you wanted to cover with in regards to the book, Darling?
I don't think so. I think we talked about it.
I think we're good. Yeah, I think we've covered just about everything. I mean, again, guys, if you haven't already, picked up. Now is the perfect opportunity. The trade paperback is scheduled to be released Wednesday, November 24th. I'm going to be picking it up 100%. I want to check out all that bonus content you gentlemen were talking about.
It's 140 pages long, I think, or something close to that.
Yeah, we added a lot of stuff into it.
I think there's like 60 pages of extra stuff in there, 50, 60 pages of bonus. We wanted it to feel substantial to someone picking it up, and we wanted to do something nice for the people who supported us and for fans of the book. Just that they didn't feel like they were just getting a 4 PDFs that were glued together and then sent off to the printer. So hopefully,
that's awesome.
Hopefully folks enjoy some of that stuff and get a better peek into our brains.
Yeah. I gotta say, as a reader, we appreciate that. We love that all the little bonus content, like you said, rather than just
we're fans. We're fans. We know what we would want.
Yeah.
So we tried to basically, if we loved a series, what would we want to see? That's kind of what we just kind of kept asking ourselves.
Now, with all the different and amazing variant covers that you guys have for your single issues, are there any plans to put like a variant of the trade out there, or?
I don't
know. At
I
the
guess,
moment.
I guess that depends how well it sells. I always wanted to do a variant cover, and maybe we'll get to do this. And this is a sneak peek into my brain. But I always wanted, and we might actually reach out and have Sean do this, right, Todd? We were talking about this.
Yep.
I wanted to do a variant cover off this famous National Lampoon cover that says, "If you don't buy this magazine, we'll kill this dog."
Wow.
Best cover. It's the best cover of all time. But yeah, we would just.
We would do it with Finch and just hold a gun to Finch's head and say, "If you don't buy this issue, we're going to kill Finch."
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. You guys have to do that now.
Yeah. I think we'll do that. I think we're going to do that as like an actual issue cover.
Yeah.
I would love to do it. It's it's just one of my it's
we should just do it as 6. Silly. We should just do it as 6.
You think?
Maybe.
Well,
as long as
I don't want it to be a variant because I want everyone unless it's a B, but then that might not fit the theme. But it should just be a regular cover.
Yeah. I've always loved that cover. I always thought it was just so stupid and
so funny. It's so funny.
That'd be great. You got Delilah up against Finch's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
even have Mike holding it because it fits. It totally fits for the 6 cover.
Man. Future Mike.
Yep.
Again, one of those crazy ideas, crazy character, and then I gotta say that final page, issue 4.
Yeah, I love that page.
Very unsettling, chilling.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, Mike is the star of the next arc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't get to see much.
You'll be seeing a lot of them, and you'll see how crazy he is.
He's pretty crazy.
And then that big. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's a big twist in issue 4 that I did not see coming, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
I loved it, and
now being that you are have been reading it so closely, is it issue 4, Mike?
It's 3 or 4.
I think it might be 3. It's 3 because it's before they go to the diner. So again, no spoilers, but in the diner scene of issue 3, right before Finch pantomimes everything that's happened.
Yep.
You'll notice that a little red curl comes down from the aviator hat that he tucks in.
Oh, wow. I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't want it to feel... we wanted to tease, we love our Easter eggs, and we wanted to tease stuff. So you could check it out and find it in there when they're in the diner. There's one
For
panel.
sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where Mike and I we've watched so many things in our lives, whether it's video games, cartoons, wrestling, and the thing that never feels satisfying is when something revelatory happens that comes from left field. It feels like a very soap opera moment, we just need to get the story along to a different storyline or something. So we always want to make sure that we can show and prove that we had intent of everything we're doing. Yeah, that right there. He just kind of In the second one, it falls down and he noticed it with his eyes. Again, something only Dave could do, and then tucks it back in. And again, it's something you wouldn't notice. Also just feels natural and organic that someone sitting there would adjust their hat.
I love that.
Yeah, we just don't ever want you guys or our audience to feel like we're just coming up with things to throw in there. Like everything is paced out really well, and like we know where we're going, we know what we're doing. And again, that's just another example of that.
Yeah, quick, and I want to get this in before, because I know we're wrapping it up, and sorry that we've taken you so long here, but
no, we love it.
Okay, great. So we just want to make an offer to anyone who's checking this out, that if anyone wants to email darlingthecomic@gmail.com with your address, give us your name and address. We'll send you some cool signed stuff. Todd and I will get together and we'll ship some stuff out totally free. You don't have to pay shipping or anything. We just like to drop free crap everywhere we go.
Yeah, darlingthecomic@gmail.com. Just shoot us your address and we'll send you something fun. And please do, because it will give Mike and I an excuse to see each other, which we do all too not often.
Infrequently.
That's awesome,
Infrequently.
man. That's fantastic, man. Generosity of you gentlemen. That's great. Before you get out of here, sorry, one more thing. I saw, Michael, you've got a tat there on your arm.
I do.
I gotta ask, is that the same that's in the okay? If this is
not the same one.
Okay.
No.
So Al, did you wanna touch on that tattoo real quick?
What, it's a Will Rogers quote?
The one in the comic is a Will Rogers quote. The one on my arm is a Kurt Vonnegut quote.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can't all be heroes. Somebody has to sit on the curb and clap as they go by. That's tatted on Francis Darling's forearm there. Just wanted to ask what that quote means to you guys, and what does it mean to Francis?
I think well, for some reason, and if you go back and read it now and check out a lot of this stuff, certainly opportunity to cry, that kind of vibe plays into this as well. But we have some weird, like, cowboy sounding Roy Rogers Western. There's a gun. His girlfriend's name is Trix. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like plays to, like, he's got a loyal sidekick, like a lot of like old school cowboys had, or like in westerns, or like any kind of horseback, old school like television shows.
And then weird. And then issue 6.
Right.
I mean issue 5.
Right.
I know
yeah, it's I don't know, it just felt like the right quote to pull. And I think it was meant to just kind of really let people understand that, like, Francis is being very flippant at this stage where the tattoo reveal is. He's kind of flippant and dismissive of, like, I've kind of given up. I've kind of like, it's all right. I'm not going to be a hero. Like, somebody needs to sit around and clap. But it's his way of, like, dealing with it in a funny way. And just kind of being like, I got this stupid tattoo. My brother was covered in tattoos. He liked to mark occasions, any kind of, whether it's a relationship. One time he was a camp counselor, and a little girl drew a picture, I think, and he got it tattooed on him. So, like, all kinds of stuff like that he just likes to remember stuff, or people, or nice moments, like he would get tattoos. So certainly that was going to be part of this in some way. And I just felt like that was, it felt right. It felt right for my brother in real life, that maybe he might have, if he'd known that quote, maybe that was something that he would have gotten put on his body. Because he was, at one point, my brother was very close to being an all-star athlete before his struggle with drugs kicked in. And so he was kind of like very close to, I don't know, being one of the rare, like, I don't know, people you see on TV or in sports or in the, like, he was very close to that. He played baseball at some big college schools, and he kind of had this fall from grace that I don't think he ever recovered from. I mean, we started a band together, and that was cool, and we had some success there. We had an album out on an indie label. There's a lot of stuff there that, like, he kind of got some of it back, but he never got as close again to, like, like, he was at the University of Michigan before he was at the University of Miami, and he was at Michigan the same time as Tom Brady was, actually. Tom Brady obviously there for football. My brother was there for baseball, but he was, like, in the mix. He like was rubbing elbows with a lot of people now that, like, names you'd recognize from sports, and people that went on to win championships, and he was like, just so close to that. And he just never, he got tied up in the wrong stuff, and he decided to walk away from baseball. And that was kind of that quote perfectly kind of wraps up the sentiment, I think, of where his brain was at most of his addiction.
I really liked it because I think that later on in the series we can easily play with it, because if you take off the apostrophe T, it's all you need to change the entire sentiment. Like, or something like that. Like, I just like that, like, it can be played with if we wanted to, but it, like Mike said, we always were talking about cowboys, and in the new issues coming out, we certainly go kind of deep into it, but for some reason it's something we were always talking about, cowboys and westerns, and the gun was always an important part of the story, even at the very beginning. So yeah, it felt very fitting.
I dig it. I do. I love that quote. I think we've covered all the bases here, guys. Todd, Michael, I gotta say thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna put this out in the universe. I feel like we gotta do a Super Nintendo's House of Nerd crossover event or something, man.
Yeah, sounds great. Absolutely.
What you guys are doing on the channel.
Yeah, we can play. You can play our quiz game, playtest.
Okay. All right. Al, we're competing, and I'm.
I love a competition one. We've never really done a competition one before, but that'd be great. Yeah. I'm going to start working on it tonight.
Oh, I'm very competitive. When I play Monopoly with the kids, forget it.
Oh, I don't play a game with my kids because it'll be a wrap.
Yeah.
I don't let up on my kids, man. You're getting the full force of my competitiveness.
Right, of course. It's the only way to teach them.
Thank you guys so much for coming through. For sure, we're gonna add that Super Nintendo's link in the description. Everybody go check them out. Great stuff. Love what you guys are doing for nerddom and for comics, man. Congratulations, all the success of this fantastic book, and can't wait. It's gonna be a long wait, but very much looking forward to that second volume.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do about bridging the gap. We'll find some way to keep everyone interested.
Take your time, gentlemen. You guys, all the success, continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Al.
Be in touch. All right, cheers. There you have it, folks. There you have it. Super Nintendo's Darling creators, Michael Fleizach, Todd Hunt. That was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun. Adding more nerddom to the House of Nerd. I'm pooped. I'm pooped. Elle, what else do we have?
Copper drop. I think we're only gonna
Let's make it quick. Let's
talk so slow that
no, stop. I can't take that. I'm dying over here. That second coffee is really it's acting up. You know what time it is.
I think your chair knows what time it is.
Oh man, you thankful you're not in the room. Woo! Hey man, so last week our pick was Radio Apocalypse. We read it. We put out the advanced review. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday. If you guys haven't already, please check it out. It's non-spoiler thoughts on Radio Apocalypse. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. I think you guys know how much we love this book. For me, it's honestly it's in contention for single issue of the year. It's that good. Elle, what did you think?
I mean, we've said it on every platform we have.
We've been raving, man. Yeah,
it's a cop.
Definitely.
Oh, one that I won, by the way, in case everybody forgot that I won the copper drop last week. So my pick,
Never mind. I guess I do get the Tank Girl vibes. I didn't
for sure.
I didn't make that connection, but yeah, I see that. Um, this is, guys, if you're not already reading this, you're honest. I'll go as far as you're doing yourself a disservice as a comic reader. This is man, a beautiful book. Definitely a cop from the House of Nerd. Let's get that up there. Where's the banner? Oh, come on now.
Yeah, why didn't you put the banner up?
Come on, man. Come on.
Hold on, let me put it up.
Yo, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So it's a cop from us. Go out and grab that. So this week we're switching it up a little bit.
Oh, you want to play Carlos?
Oh yes, I'm sorry so much. So Carlos, Omni City Comics, was our guest host last week, and he was kind enough to leave us a review, his thoughts on Radio Apocalypse.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday. This is Carlos from Omni City Comics, and I'm here to share my brief thoughts on Radio Apocalypse. Right off the bat, I have to say that it's a cop for me. I was somewhat skeptical at first just because of all of the hype that I heard surrounding the title, but it's very well warranted. So, why is it a cop for me? Well, it's because Rambi and Anan Arcade have created an engaging, unique, and compelling story, both artistically and narratively. It's a story about loss, love, grief, but ultimately finding hope at the face of the end of the world. We follow characters that are just trying to make it through each day, just like many of us find ourselves doing at times. And what connects them all is tuning into Radio Apocalypse, the last radio station left on Earth after a meteor strikes Earth and turns it into a wasteland. Anan Arcade's art evokes so many emotions, much in the same way that music does. And you can easily see that in the colors that he chooses to use and the somewhat abstractness to his art. It can be interpreted in many different ways, much like music can. I think that everyone has their own special connection to music, and everyone experiences music in a different way. And I think that you can find that in this comic book, and that's part of what makes it really special. I'm really excited to learn more about this world. Excited to see exactly how Radio Apocalypse connects all of the characters and what journey they have ahead of them. So pick this book up. I highly recommend it. And tune into Radio Apocalypse. I know that I'm going to be doing so. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Hey, my man, Carlos from Omni City. Was the video?
No. They're talking about talking slow because you have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Man, yeah, it's yeah. I won't. Let's leave the poo talk out of it, because the more I talk, the harder it is to Carlos foresaw.
And you know that was Carlos's 5th draft, because he said he'd be drafting.
Oh my God! Hey, thank you, Carlos, for your thoughts, man. My dude, I've been having the sweats all pretty much like 5 minutes into the episode, bro. Hella pinching going on. I've had like 3 fucking coffees this morning, man. Okay, you can't.
You said let me get a water, and I'm like, that's just gonna speed it up.
Oh man. So
all right, we can keep
second,
it.
let's get to the second portion.
So we're doing trades for next week.
Yeah, so instead of a number one, instead of a number one, we're doing trade paperbacks. So switching up the copper drop a bit, works in the same manner, but we're picking trades. I am going to
I'm gonna go first because I did the slides.
Right.
I did the slides backwards.
Do your thing.
I picked Aftershocks Project Patron. Just to keep it short, there's this Heroes 30 years ago. There was an event. Everybody thought he died, but he didn't. But he actually did die. And there's like 5 people who have been like what would you call it? Like avataring him. Hold on, let me give some time for you.
Oh my gosh. L, moving on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just look at some pictures. A bunch of grown men in the shower. I thought you might like that.
Oh shit. All right. Okay. Sold.
So something you'll probably have to do after.
Man. Project Patron.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your
yeah, and I've read it. I like it. Okay.
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 That's cool. Yeah, it's our first trade paperback copper drop. So that's L's pick. I am going with Geiger Volume 1. Listen, guys, for whatever reason, I feel like Geiger's not getting the respect it deserves as one of the better reads this year. Jeff John is a GOAT. Gary Frank, a GOAT. Man, look at that. Jeez, and Brad Anderson. Listen, man, you're gonna have it's page after page of just this fantastic story being told, and just gorgeous art, man. Gary Frank, one of my favorites. Brad Anderson, amazing colorist. Great story. It's emotional, action packed. I think it was like issue 3L that it was just like pretty much one car chasing for at least for most of the issue anyways. Great stuff. I love it. It is. They're gonna sponsor after this.
Let's be real, guys. Pick Geiger so we could talk about it, because we haven't had a chance to really like talk about Geiger as a whole.
It deserves to be
so if you guys just want to vote for Sergio, I'll go ahead
and
do that.
So we'll see how many people are still watching this degenerate fest.
I'm sure there's more, just to see if you
if anybody's in the live chat and you want to drop a quick vote,
if you want to drop something like
Geiger,
like Sergio,
Geiger, or I can't even focus here anymore.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I do, Sergio.
Thank you. We got one vote. That's it. That's it.
That's all we need.
That's a wrap. We got one vote. So
you want to change the banner?
Yeah, you want to switch it up for me, please.
Go ahead and type it in.
Yeah, I can't type right now.
Okay. It's Geiger.
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 Next week. Pick it up. It's coming out this Wednesday. Thank you, Cookie.
Surprisingly, that's how fast it's gonna come out too. So.
Oh man, we're reading Geiger,
which I'm excited about because I really want to talk about it as a whole. So
honestly, it's good, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to rereading that and talking about that next Sunday. So please, folks, read along with us. Pick up the trade. It's good stuff, and that's it. I think it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great interview. Honestly, that was one of my favorite creator interviews, man. Those guys were fun.
Oh yeah, it's super good. Yeah.
And all that Darling discussion. Can't say it enough, guys.
And you know what? In trade, it's gonna read, because when I was reading it, as it was releasing, it did get confusing a couple times. But if you haven't read it yet and you can get it as a trade, I would absolutely, and then by issue 4, like, so good. And
again, there's that twist that I didn't see coming. Oh, did you see it coming?
No, but I did notice the hair thing.
Oh, you did?
I did notice the hair part, but I didn't connect it. Okay. I just thought it was like, because whenever you see, I always feel like when people have red hair in a picture, in a visual story, that it's something like they're, you know what I mean? Okay. So I kind of
yeah, man. And I will say I agree wholeheartedly with Al. As good as it is issue to issue, it reads so much that much better, even better in one shot as a trade. Great stuff. We love it here. And you guys, you heard him. Hey, they're giving the House of Nerd community, hit them up, man. Hit them up in the emails. You know, some signed stuff. I already sent out 2 emails, yo. I just created 2 burner accounts and yo. But that's it. That's it for this week, folks. Thank you everybody for tuning in, man. You guys are amazing, man. You guys make it so much fun. Always making the live chats live. Please tell me there's nothing else to add. Can we go now?
Well,
Is that the end of the show?
No.
Okay, bye-bye now, folks. We'll be on Sunday. We love y'all. Cheers. Have a good